Stand by. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Giant Center for Game 3 of 4 here this evening. It's the 5A girls title game, a rematch of a game 2 years ago at this very classification between the four-time champs, Archbishop Wood, and a talented South Fayette group. Bob Long, Matt Paul here again for another round of action here, radio style, from the Giant Center. But boy, do we have a fun surprise and a fun treat for you. The owner of and founder of City of Basketball Love himself, Josh Verlin, is going to join us for the entirety of this broadcast. And Josh, we're very excited to have you.
Very excited to be here, Bob. We'll see if you still feel that way come the second half, but I'm so excited to be joining you and Matt for this broadcast.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's quite your maiden voyage, but you certainly haven't done games in a while, it doesn't sound like.
I have not. So I did some Villanova baseball games and some lacrosse games back when I was in college, and I've done a little bit for Ari Bluestein over the years, but I think it's probably been 7 or 8 years since I was on for a full broadcast.
How about that?
I do have a degree in broadcast journalism. I'm hoping some of those skills that I learned way back in my Temple days bubble up here over the next hour and a half.
Well, that's terrific. We're excited to have you. It's only Matt Paul's second state final here. It's his first time in the Giant Center in a broadcast capacity today. But what I do know is I have two of the more knowledgeable guys in Philadelphia basketball and basketball in general. So I'm just going to try to stay out of the way, and I'm excited for this one with both of you guys. Matt Paul, let's get a thought from you on this Archbishop Wood team. It's a high level of coaching with Mike McDonald. It's a high level of consistent success. 15 out of the last 18 years, this program has gotten to the Palestra for the Catholic League final. What is it about Archbishop Wood basketball on the girls' side?
Well, they have a tradition, they have culture, they have a belief at the beginning of the season that this is how their season's supposed to end, which is in Hershey, dancing on the floor. And what they didn't accomplish this year was winning the PCL, and they were upset in the semifinals by Newman Goretti, who played earlier today. And I know that they've had a chip on their shoulder ever since that moment. And they won the district championship. The way they warmed up here today, they're on a mission. And I sure expect them to come out with the fighter's punch early and often.
They did, in fact, lose to Newman Goretti in the regular season. It was Archbishop Carroll in the semifinals that beat this Archbishop Wood team. And, Josh, that is interesting because when you think about this team, they have some of the most talent that they have ever had now. They consistently bring talent year in and year out. But I think about Emily Naus, the senior, 4-year starter for Archbishop Wood, and then Ryan Carter, the newcomer, the super sophomore who can do just about everything on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt those are going to be your top two assignments on the scouting report for any opponent. I mean, Ryan Carter shows game in and game out why she's considered a top 10 sophomore in the country. Her size at the lead guard position at 5'11", 6 foot, her athleticism, her IQ, her ability to play on or off the ball, to score from all three levels, to make her teammates better, to defend at a high level. I mean, really nothing that she doesn't do well, and it's kind of hard to remember sometimes that she's only a sophomore.
Right.
And then you've got Emily Naus, who's going to St. Joe's next year, is one of the best pure shooters in the state. So if you overcommit to stopping Ryan, then you're going to leave Emily and their cadre of shooters wide open from the arc, and if you focus too much on the shooters, then Ryans can beat basically anybody in the state one-on-one off the bounce. So it's just a really tough team to game plan for, and outside the Catholic League and maybe some national powerhouses, nobody's figured it out quite yet.
Not really. You're absolutely right. The lights dim here at the Giant Center. We're going to get introductions momentarily and then the national anthem. On the South Fayette side, they're going to start Layla Wright, first-year starter for the program, very tough-nosed girl, super athletic with some Division I interest. Haley Lamondi, offered by Seton Hill. Not Seton Hall, of course, for our Philadelphia area folks. Seton Hill is a very well-known school out in the Pittsburgh area. Ryan Oldeker played significant minutes for the team 2 years ago in that state final. She'll be a key for South Fayette here tonight. Juliette LaRue, multiple Division I offers for her. Her father, of course, was Francois LaRue, a terrific athletic career for him, and the older sister, Ava, was on that state title appearance team. She's playing her college basketball at Elon. Fifth starter for South Fayette is Sierra Rexroad, and Eastern Michigan commit. How about this, Matt Paul? Thoreau. She's going to be a crew athlete at the next level. Sierra Rexroad rounds out that starting five.
I love the multi-sport athletes. They're few and far between these days as kids are playing 12 months of basketball, and high school girls basketball is going into the end of March. So it's great to see these kids being able to continue on and do some other sports as well. Only helps them.
It's not quite the same level, but I'll give a shout out to Harridan Jr. Addison Levinston, who's one of their best ball players. She's a Duke rowing commit.
Wow.
So it does happen out there.
That is really, really impressive stuff. Head coach of South Fayette is Brian Bennett in his 7th year, the 11th year that he's coached at a head coaching level overall. Teaches at local Upper St. Clair High School, who of course played Perkiomen Valley in the finals. He was at Upper St. Clair as a boys assistant prior to taking this opportunity with South Fayette. We mentioned about Ava LaRue on that state championship team 2 years ago. One girl we didn't mention, Josh, I know you'll remember her well, is Maddie Weber, who's now excelling at Villanova University. She is a South Fayette graduate.
Yeah, and having a really good Villanova career thus far. Had a good season as a freshman last year. Became their second best player this year behind Jasmine Basco. So certainly some Western Pennsylvania to Eastern Pennsylvania connections going on here.
No doubt about it. Archbishop Wood on the other side expected to start Ryan Carter, Sophia Topakis, Michaela Finnegan, Emma Seckinger, and Emily Nouse, who we mentioned is going to St. Joe's next year. Emma Seckinger, at least last time I checked, had a Robert Morris offer. I don't know if any of these girls have determined where they're going to play at the next level, but what we really know we have, Josh, is 4 girls on the Archbishop Wood side, and feels like this is just rinse and repeat each year. Girls that are averaging around 40% from beyond the three-point line. They can spread you out, and then Carter can beat you to the basket.
Yeah, I mean, Topakis, Mackenzie Rogers, Michaela Finnegan, Emma Seckinger, Emily Now, Sophia McDonald, Emma Yogis. These are all girls who will play and all hit shot. Not just can hit a shot or two, but hit shots, like you said, at a 40% clip. And this is a team that's still playing without Colleen Bisaccio,
right,
who would be their second or third option on most nights. She tore her ACL for the second time in a year, and I know we're certainly thinking about her on this night because just a tough thing for any kid to go through.
And that was so tough to watch over the course of Philadelphia Catholic League play. It felt like the girls' game in particular, Josh, got really bit by the injury bug, and particularly in the knee area. I can think of 4 girls off the top of my head where that was a significant issue, and we're talking about real contributors on their teams.
Look, I'm certainly no medical expert, but there are definitely more ACL tears on the girls' side than there are on the boys' side. When I asked somebody who knew what they were talking about it, they said it's actually due to the different physicality. Girls have wider hips, therefore it puts more strain on their knees when they're cutting. So, yes, unfortunately, you do see more torn ACLs on the girls' side, and it's a real shame.
Well, I certainly learned something new here today. That is absolutely wild. So now we're going to pause for the national anthem. A great rendition of the national anthem. Starters have been introduced, and now we're about ready to get going. For those of you that are our normal Philadelphia audience wondering where South Fayette is. They are from Pittsburgh. Don't take my word for it. I see a Paul Skeens jersey. I see a James Harrison jersey. And I see black and yellow suspenders on 3 separate fans down below us here. So the Pittsburgh fans are out in full force.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. It's just below North Fayette.
That's right, of course. Yes, indeed. A proud program out of District 7. The Whippeal, one of the great districts and one of the most successful districts across a wide variety of sports in Pennsylvania. And we welcome those viewers and listeners here tonight from South Fayette, from Archbishop Wood, from Philadelphia, and everywhere in between.
Goes to show you Ryan Carter's versatility is she's about to jump center here.
She sure will.
She's a talent. Has never played in a state final game, having transferred in from the William Penn Charter School in East Falls. They don't participate in the PIAA.
So Archbishop Wood got the opening tip. There's Ryan Carter slicing to the hole, up and off the window for 2. Very quickly up the floor, a long home run pass. That went bigging. A home run pass that went into the 3rd row as South Fayette tried to push it down the floor.
Be quick, but don't hurry, is the line that John Wooden is famous for. And the Lions are going to have to play with pace and space. Keep these Vikings out of the paint.
Seconder set the screen. Carter got all the way in the lane, off 2 feet. Back to Seconder, who's going to drive across the lane. It's blocked, taken off her hands, and she ends up possessing it while out of bounds. Really good defense that time by South Fayette. Number 24, Ryan Oldeker.
Got another drive to the basket there. Easy drive for the Vikings, but great defense to keep them out of the basket.
So now Oldeker with her back to the basket. They'll spin it and turn it to the weak side. Up and off the glass. That one will fall. That's Juliette LaRue on the assist from Layla Wright. They switch the floor mat, a little back cut to the strong side block.
And right-hand layup from the right-hand box, set piece. Obviously, you want to get yourself started before you start taking long shots.
Here's Carter with the ball, near side wing. She'll spin, kick it out, an open 3. That one will not go, and a solid check out by South Fayette.
That's Michaela Finnegan with the open 3 created by Ryan Carter.
Inside goes South Fayette again. Really good passing, this time to the weak side block, up and off the window. 4-2, South Fayette early. That one from Sierra Rexroad.
Great look from Oldeker.
Interior passing, another layup. Good start.
Finnegan has the ball. Great back cut. The extra pass, an open 3 for Topakis. That one's no good from the wing. Very unselfish, but I think Naus could have gone up with that one and laid it in.
Layups, take the layups early and often.
Ryan Carter in there on the foul, and Josh, I think they nabbed her there because she went in with the right arm that goes across the body of the dribbler.
You know, Matt mentioned this is her first time on the big stage, and thus far her season with Wood, she has not looked at one point shaken by the moment. Really strong take by her to start off the game, but certainly, early foul here for her is a potentially troublesome sign if she picks up another one.
And it's going to be an offensive foul going against South Fayette. Standing in is Finnegan, and that'll go the other way.
Like her sister, a great defender. She often comes from the weak side to come over and stops the dribble penetration. Got beat on the last possession, but for sure didn't get beat 2 times in a row.
And now Emily Naus, not traditionally a point guard, she'll take it up the floor. Topakis gets a touch, and they'll run a little weave at the top of the key. A little down screen, sets it up for Emily Naus, who knocks down the 3 just right of center of the floor.
That is classic Archbishop Wood coming out of a dead ball. I'm not saying I was going to call that play, but I've seen that before.
Topakis gets the steal. She's out on the break, and it was blocked. Blocked from behind. What a play there by South Fayette. Up ahead of the defense, up and off the window for Sierra Rexroad. It's 6-5 South Fayette.
Yeah, because Mike McDonald has so many weapons, he has to find ways of getting some of his unselfish players to play more offensively. They do share the ball. They do play great team basketball. Emily Naus can score every time if she wants to.
That's a heck of a pass by Naus. McDonald couldn't hit the 3. Topakis in there for the offensive rebound, but then throws it away. Good hands there by Haley Lamondi. Layla Wright takes it across the timeline. They'll get set into the half-court offense. Archbishop Wood in the man-to-man, and it's thrown away. They'll let it roll harmlessly past the baseline. Another turnover for South Fayette.
In tennis, they call them unforced errors. That feels like another one where if this is going to be a close game, you can't give up too many possessions where you don't get a shot. In the previous broadcast, I told Bob, somebody once told me, you can't score if you don't shoot the ball, if you don't have the ball, if you throw it away. And it's true, even though it's a plain statement. You got to get a shot on every possession.
Lansdale Catholic found that out the hard way this morning.
Wood nearly gives it away. Right place, right time for Emily Naus to collapse back on top of it. Reset at the Giant Center logo. Cutting towards the baseline. Naus pulls up, tried to go off the glass, couldn't hit it. And here comes South Fayette the other way. Not a ton of numbers. Archbishop Wood has all 4 girls back. And so South Fayette will get into the half court. There's a dribble drive all the way through traffic. Count it, and one as it's up and off the window for Haley Lamondi.
If we were doing a shot chart, that would be another right-hand layup from the right box, even though it was on a curl. The Vikings on the other end, they still got a great cut action off of their top 5. We call it a scissor cut on. You have your 2 guards cutting to the basket, but they're all getting great looks on both sides of the ball.
It is a media timeout here. 3:59 to play. We're going to keep it here on the broadcast. Bob Long, Matt Paul, and Josh Verlin back for first broadcast he's done in a long time, and we are so thrilled to have him. We talked to Brian Bennett, 7th-year head coach for South Fayette, and he said that Ryan Carter is one of the best high school players that he has ever seen, and he's only had the opportunity to watch film. Now he's seeing her in person. Also very impressed with how Emily Naus can shoot the basketball. Thinks that Archbishop Wood is extremely well coached, play hard. And listen, Brian Bennett got the sense, very humble, a terrific guy it sounded like, but I don't think those are just empty plaudits. I think he really sees that Archbishop Wood has a high-level program. And he said that, listen, Archbishop Wood's role players would be star players elsewhere. The biggest thing he was worried about, Matt Paul, I'm going to get another coach's opinion on this, is the need to be able to handle the run and jump pressure that has given so many opponents of Archbishop Wood trouble this year.
The run and jump usually works when it's a surprise play, something out of a timeout. Often it gets changed out of a half-court set. When the ball goes in the backcourt, everybody thinks the ball's cleared. That's a perfect time for the defense to do that. Mike is going to pick and choose when he wants to trap here. He doesn't want to press the whole game. He wants to just defend the rim, as most coaches do. But he'll definitely use the run and jump here and expect it shortly.
Out of the timeout, remember that Lamondi had put it up and off the window for 2 plus the foul. She hit the foul shot. Archbishop Wood trails by 4. McDonald skip pass. Extra one for Emily Naus, and they'll reset on the left wing. She'll pull it back, looking for someone in the post. Very well defended. McDonald comes to the basketball. Topakis now up by the logo. Ryan Carter is in the post. They haven't been able to get her the basketball yet. Here's a dribble drive. Getting to the top of the key was number 31, Sophia McDonald. Up inside they go. Offensive rebound by Carter once, twice. Neither goes down. This time it's brought forward by South Fayette. South Fayette will get the ball in the lane. Driving inside. Great defense by Naus. She got a clean block.
You want to push here if you're the Vikings.
And a blocking foul is called in the backcourt. So good minutes early on, by the way, by Michaela Finnegan, 5'6", Sophia McDonald, 5'5". And to go along with some of the keys on this team, we talked a lot about what Ryan Carter does and what Emily Naus does. It's very rare, Josh, that we'll see them come off the floor. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, they'll get quick spurts here and there. McDonald does have the depth to go and give him a breather, but on this stage, I'm expecting them to play just about every second.
I'm expecting Emily Naus to continue to assert herself offensively.
Emily Naus, an open 3. That one is a little short. It was on a kick out that time from Ryan Carter. Now all the way to the hoop for South Fayette. Up and under, it won't go. An offensive rebound is put back in by Alexa Ankrum, a starter last year that has been relegated to the bench, but she's accepted her role because they have a very deep and, quite frankly, better team than they had last year.
Getting those extra chance opportunities off the glass sure bodes well for the Lions.
McDonald picks up her dribble. There's Ryan Carter on the right side wing. Carter gets to the basket, steps through two defenders, and puts it in off the window. Terrific play.
Carter's a scorer. She can shoot, but she's a scorer. She can score at the free throw line, driving the ball, mid-range, three-pointer. Very tough to play against.
South Fayette into the offense. Ankrum gave the ball up. Lamondi back for Ankrum at the top of the key. They're trying to run off-ball screens to get folks moving off the ball to the rim. Archbishop Wood with a foul about 30 feet from the basket.
McDonald, the niece of the head coach Mike McDonald, has always wanted to play for her uncle as far back as being in kindergarten. Ran into her father in the hallway. And when you have a culture and a program, especially the girls' side of basketball, girls will always go to that school. They'll rarely go to another place where they've always wanted to go somewhere. And that's just the nature of building success.
Great hands by Finnegan, leading the break. Ryan Carter didn't quite handle the basketball as she went up with it. It was a good pass from Emily Naus, and that basketball should stay here with Archbishop Wood as it was frittering past the baseline. Boy, that was a really good break there, was it not? Finnegan, a great steal, got it to Naus. Everything but that finish.
I think if you're Archbishop Wood right now, you just need to stay calm. You know, they're only down 4. It's early on. They're not shooting great. 3 for 14 from the floor so far.
That's really good defense as Ryan Carter went to a fadeaway. Nothing doing that time as Ryan Oldeker at 5'10" made that difficult. Now off the window, it won't go for South Fayette. Carter is up ahead of the defense. She is found, and she will finish with the left hand. Solid assist up the floor by number 21, Emma Seckinger.
Easy look. Uncontested layup.
To the rim, no good. South Fayette got 2 looks, both of them too strong, off the window for Juliette LaRue. Finnegan, 2 feet in the paint, kick out, open triple. It's really good offense for Archbishop Wood, but the shot goes begging. And a push is called against Ryan Oldeker after the defensive, beg your pardon, the offensive rebound there for Archbishop Wood.
Second chance opportunity clearly for the Vikings. That can happen if you're going to win the game. For the Lions, you have to keep Wood off the glass. They're getting early and easy buckets. Got to keep them off the glass.
40 seconds left in the first quarter. It's 11-9. South Fayette with the lead. Good hands there, but Archbishop Wood comes up with the basketball after a deflection. Finnegan on a basket into the rim. That one's blocked. Ella Vieira. And now they lead the break. Playing off 2 feet inside. It's terrific basketball and the left-handed finish by Juliette LaRue. That's how you run a break, Coach.
Get the ball to the paint, jump stop, under control. Love the left-hand finish.
14 seconds left. Carter. They are counting the 5 seconds. She blows by. Good kick, extra pass. That 3 will not go off the heel, but there's Carter with the offensive rebound and a lefty finish. With 2 seconds left, down to 1. South Fayette will not get the shot off. And Josh, I thought great offense there, led to a Michaela Finnegan 3. 40% of those or more are going to go down. That one didn't. Ryan Carter doesn't quit on the play, gets the offensive carom, and it's a 2-point game through 8 minutes.
Yeah, like I said, I think if you're Wood, all right, you're down 2, but they're 5 for 20 from the floor, and I think maybe one of those was a bad shot. I think, like we've said, Wood's running good offense. They're moving the ball well. They're getting open shots. They're getting the looks they want. They haven't fallen so far, and I think if you're Mike McDonald in the huddle right now, you're just saying, hey, don't panic. We're playing the way we want to play. They've gotten a couple run-outs on us. Generally playing good defense. Stick to the game plan.
Josh, what has the run been like for Archbishop Wood through the state tournament to this point? What have you seen, and is there anything they've improved upon in the time since their loss to Archbishop Carroll in the Philadelphia Catholic League semis?
It's just hard to tell because they haven't faced teams of that caliber. You know, I mean, I saw them against Bethlehem Catholic. They won that game handily by, you know, they were running clock in the second half. They buried threes all game long. So it's hard to say specifically because they haven't been playing a team of this caliber thus far. So I think it's just more about maintaining that chemistry and the continuity that they've had all season long, and you can see that with their offensive flow. They really know where each other likes to have the ball, and I feel like every move, every pass they make is nothing's by accident. They know, they make a determination, they go for it, they know what they're going to do with it, and I think that they've been strong at that all year long.
And Matt, I know from a coaching perspective, you come across and even coach some of Mike McDonald's girls on this Archbishop Wood team. What does he do so well?
I just think when he has such command of his program in their off season, nobody misses a workout. I mean, they are 100% committed. Once the season's over, they get a couple weeks off, and then the clock starts ticking for the next season. Almost every one of these girls has aspirations of playing at the next level. They buy into the hard work, the teamwork. You see when they make a basket, they all cheer. It's a culture that's really enviable from most of the programs in the area.
Bob, by the way, you did mention at the beginning of the broadcast, Ebba Seckinger does have the Division I offer. She is the only one of their sophomores at the moment that has a Division I offer. It would not surprise me if another one or two pick them up as we get closer to their senior years, but at the moment she's the only one. She certainly is the brightest prospect of that very impressive sophomore group. Outside of Ryan Carter.
I was going to say, there you go. Pause for effect. Absolutely. Carter, speaking of which, right out of the timeout, gets a steal. Too strong with the right hand. She tried to use that rim as defense against a shot blocker. Now she is slow to get up. She hit the stanchion. She's still down behind the play as they play on. There was contact and a shot. So in the act of shooting, it'll be Juliette LaRue to the line to shoot two after getting her own offensive rebound. Carter, though, of note for Wood fans and, quite frankly, anybody interested in seeing her dazzle. A little slow to get back there, Matt.
Well, I think she might have run into the camera guy and might have stepped on his foot and twisted her ankle.
I wasn't sure if it was the stanchion or the camera guy on the wheeled chair. Yes.
If you weren't keeping track of the score, you would say that Wood would have the advantage here. They've had momentum for the last 6 or 7 minutes, and they're down 3 points. This is a game where, I don't know, you want to just hang in there. Hang in there with Wood.
LaRue goes 1 for 2 from the line, 14-11. South Fayette, to your point, Matt. Wood has gotten a lot of the looks that they have wanted. I think they've taken South Fayette out of their offense, and yet Wood does not have the lead. Topakis, Seckinger, Finnegan, and now up to the top of the key where Nouse has the basketball. Ryan Carter out of the game after that little dust up there, and we'll see if she can come back anytime soon. Wood turns it over. LaRue up the floor, puts it up, no good. Solid check out that time by Finnegan. And a foul is called finally as 3 different South Fayette players were getting in there trying to nab at that basketball. First team foul against South Fayette here in the second quarter.
The coaching point there is to pivot out of pressure. Pivot out of pressure. Michaela Finnegan. In the old days, we were taught to put the ball under our chin so that nobody would reach in. You'd catch an elbow. You'd catch an elbow for dinner. Coach John McCardle.
That was 2 fouls on Oldiger, by the way.
That's a big call there, no doubt about it. And Ryan Carter back into the game. So that was a quick rest, and good to see that she's able to shake that off. Great pass. Emily Nouse, cross court. That 3 won't go. And the rebound corralled by South Fayette. Finnegan called for the nickel dimer there as number 22 for South Fayette. Ella Vieira, the freshman at 5'10", corralled the defensive board.
What I love about Michaela's game is that she plays every aspect of the game. She passes, she screens, but she rebounds the ball. That is the area that coaches really stress. We need rebounders if you want to win.
On the right wing, Rexroad gives it up. Dribble drive here. Lamondi Tries to Euro step through. What a job defensively by Finnegan. And she again stands up. What a great play. Here comes Archbishop Wood the other way. Ryan Carter, Euro step, count it. And it's a 1-point game, but it all starts with 2 legal guarding position type plays by Finnegan. And quickly the other way. South Fayette behind Haley Lamondi hits the triple from the right wing.
When you're a shooter, you're supposed to shoot. Shoot the ball.
Ryan Carter dribbles into a double team, up and under won't go, and South Fayette again comes up with the rebound. 1 and done that time for Archbishop Wood.
Don't need that from Carter.
And didn't need that. Certainly South Fayette threw it away. That's one of those unforced errors that Matt Paul talked about.
Reminds me of my tennis game. But here's the interesting thing about Wood this year. They haven't played with Ryan off the court, Ryan Carter off the court very much. So when she went out of the game, who's going to be the alpha? Emily Naus is a great player, but she has changed her game this year as they've had other options.
Ryan Carter able to get to the bucket and score. Faked the handoff and then dove to the 10. We saw that a couple of times in that West Catholic game by Saeed Lee. Very similar move by Ryan Carter. Now a quick miss up the floor. Archbishop Wood coming to a jump stop inside. Could not hit it though. Seconder. Beg your pardon. That was Sophia McDonald who missed it, got it back, and scored. That's right. When I get your name right, that's when you're scoring. Way to go, Sophia.
Same as the coach from St. Albert the Great.
She heard you call her seconder. She said, I got to get the steal and get it right back.
That's right.
It's tough when their hair is on their number. That's one of those tough ones.
21-31. It's close. There's a travel. Archbishop Wood with the double team using that midcourt stripe. Josh is the third defender. It's a great defensive play.
Like horseshoes, Bob. Close is good enough.
Uh-huh.
You both have mentioned Michaela Finnegan's older sister, Delaney, and absolutely an impressive defender and rebounder, and I think Michaela has brought those same traits that her sister has, and she's also a better ball handler, and she can really shoot, which is something that was not necessarily a strength of her sister's.
Emily Naus, a wing 3. That one goes down, and Archbishop Wood leads by 3. And she loves to curl behind those screens, and if the defender goes under, you're going to be in a world of hurt. She can really let it fly. Now, South Fayette turns it over. A lot of good interior passing, but then number 14, Juliette LaRue, kind of got caught underneath Matt.
Sometimes you got to just take the shot or try to get fouled.
Archbishop Wood's going to hang with the basketball. Emily Naus lost it initially, went to the floor, and threw it off the foot of Layla Wright.
I think generally Wood's doing a great job of collapsing interior when South Fayette gets the ball down low. They're doing a great job sending 2 or 3 down, and then also the key second part of that is then the recovery when the ball goes out to the perimeter. I think they've been doing well at both aspects of that.
I know they're only playing with media timeouts in the semis and the finals. That is an interesting timeout there by Archbishop Wood. 4:04 to play, so the next stoppage, you would think, in all likelihood, will result in that media timeout. But a big possession, says Mike McDonald. What do you think, Coach Matt Paul?
Sometimes you call a timeout just because you're frustrated with one thing that you want to get across. He's not worried about his timeouts, I can assure you that. He knows he has the media timeouts. He's one of these, I call them Catholic League Northern Division guys that hold on to their timeouts until the end of the game for end-of-game situations.
I won't ask you who else you're talking about in that group of people.
But they're all trained the same way. I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, Oxford Circle, where a lot of these judge people are going to be coming up the boulevard out here to Hershey, Pennsylvania. But there's definitely a call here from the sideline, but he knew he was going to call anyhow from the sideline. He wanted to stress something to his team about, I'm not sure what, but this will be definitely a set piece.
Carter off the ball screen, comes to the top of the key, gets to the elbow, rises and hits. Well, there you go. Take the little ball screen there from Emily Naus, go 1-on-1. That's a great pull-up.
17-6 is the Wood run now, dating back to the 2:30 mark of the first quarter.
Skip pass to the corner, cutting in. Good offense that time. Just couldn't finish. Everything but for Sierra Rexroad. Wood comes back down the floor. Carter to the baseline. Topakis traveled with the basketball. A little head fake, but that foot left the floor, Matt.
There's a Kobe video on Instagram, you can find it, where he talks about knowing when a guy or girl is not going to shoot the ball is when their left foot goes backwards. And it's something I had never seen before, but they often get caught when they're going to drive it and they're not going to shoot it. You should look to shoot it by stepping with your left foot going forward. So it's almost an easy call for the referees to make. But Kobe, in one of his detail videos, several years ago, pointed that out. And if you watch the left foot go backwards, almost every time they're going to drive the ball.
That's very interesting. I like that. Josh Vernon is with us, and I know you had mentioned and Matt had mentioned Delaney Finnegan playing in this game 2 years ago. Yes, a terrific defender. Yes, Michaela on the team now. I found in that game 2 years ago, Delaney's one-on-one defense against Maddie Weber was a big part of the reason that they won that game. I brought that up to Mike McDonald after the game, and as he would, he's like, it was team defense, Bob. And yes, it was. Yes, it was. But, Josh, I don't know if that particular performance stands out to you in your memory.
I don't actually think if I was here for that game, that might have been an Andrew Robinson game, but I will say, certainly having watched Delaney enough times over the years, I mean, she was 5'11" and probably a 6'2", 6'3" wingspan, and that was Mike's, sort of ace in the hole, his ability to kind of throw her out there on the opposing team's best player and just know, similar to what Lena Stein did last night for Perkiomen Valley, that you can just take that player out of the equation.
Absolutely right.
I love having the big sister to try to beat her records, to try to beat her in the backyard, to try to beat her one-on-one. That's a huge advantage for Michaela.
South Fayette out of the timeout, back into the offense, moving from left to right, dressed in the green. Archbishop Wood in the white here today. And all the way to the bucket. Beats Ryan Carter to the basket. Layla Wright, the 5'7" sophomore.
The help defense was there, but she's slippery, got right between the crack, is what they say. Find a crack and find the lane.
Carter now gets to her left hand, into the lane. Triple team. She's going to find baseline, an open shooter. That one is no good. Off the hands of Michaela Finnegan. And now here comes Layla Wright the other way. She'll stop on a dime, kick it out. Top of the key, three. That's off the back iron and won't go. Emily Naus able to chase that one down. It's a good look, no doubt about it, for Sierra Rexroad. Just couldn't put it in.
She has the license for sure. I love that shot at the top of the key when you shoot the ball the way she does.
Ryan Carter shields off the defender. Kick out, and they'll reset to Emily Naus at the top of the key. Now Carter has it on the right wing. Naus beats the defender with the left hand. Up and off the window, it's too strong. Brought down that time by Rexroad. Here comes Layla Wright. Gets to the three-point line, stops on a dime, and gets into the half-court set with 2 minutes to go. It's a 22-19 lead for Archbishop Wood. On the right wing, here's Haley Lamondi. Lamondi gives that one up for Rexroad. And they'll reset at the top of the key with Haley Lamondi. 1:40 to go. Important
1:40 here, as momentum is such a big deal.
All the way to the hoop. How about that? Ball fake and then dive to the hole. Ryan Oldiker puts it in. It's a 1-point game.
Shot fake, ball fake. They're free, Josh. They're free. Use your ball fakes and shot fakes. Head fakes, too.
Stay with us at halftime, folks. We're expected to have Steve Haug from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia here to tell us about the teams. Two shots won't go near the rim for Ryan Carter. Got her offensive rebound once, and now Naus comes up with it on the left wing. Solid catch in there, and a foul is called. That's going to go against number 14, Juliette LaRue. Just the second team foul against South Fayette here in the second quarter with 1:01 to play. Archbishop Wood, a 22-21 lead.
A few uncharacteristic missed layups for Ryan Carter this half.
It's tough to shoot layups when on a rebound when you don't have space. She got that last one underneath the basket. She needed to pivot or one hard dribble to a spot where she could easily lay it in. She's playing really hard, playing great minutes. She's in attack mode.
Archbishop Wood in the half court. Ryan Carter. Carter spins away from the double team. Now extra pass for Topakis in the corner, and they'll reset. 44 seconds left. They have the liberty to hold for the last shot if they'd like. This is Sophia McDonald with the left-hand dribble. Topakis with her back to the basket towards the wing. Topakis for Nous up near the logo. Now Topakis, back cutting inside. Good pass, but it just wouldn't go. That was Sophia McDonald trying to, with the left-handed finish, couldn't hit it. Now 18 seconds left.
We call that a flash cut from the opposite side. Once the elbow passer catches the ball, it's hard to defend when you turn and look at the ball.
Here's that run and jump. South Fayette handled it well. Bennett said he wanted to be able to handle the run and jump. He does it there, leads to an easy layup. This is good as it goes. It's a three-quarters court shot, no good. And South Fayette takes Archbishop Wood's aggressiveness defensively against him in the final 10 seconds. LaRue puts it in just a couple seconds before the horn, and South Fayette started with a big lead early in this contest. They end up giving up that lead, and Josh, they've taken it right back 23-22.
Yeah, right when it looked like Wood really might be creating some space in this game, South Fayette scores the last 6 points of the second quarter and 1-point game at halftime.
Matt, a quick thought, and then we'll turn it over to Steve Haug here.
The quick thought is you don't want to trap in the middle of the court. You trap in the middle of the court, you give your opposition chances to throw it right and left. You want to force them to the sideline. Next possession there, you got to make sure you don't trap the ball in the middle of the court.
Halftime here at the Giants Center. This is Bob Long Sports and an audio broadcast of the Archbishop Wood South Fayette Girls 5A State Championship. And what a treat this is. We have Steve Haug from the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, Executive Director of Athletics, and a guy that I've been lucky enough to work with a lot over the last decade or so with the Philadelphia Catholic League. Good to see you at the Giant Center in Hershey, my friend.
Bob, Josh, great to be here. Very exciting first half.
It has been a great first half, and it's been an exciting season for the Philadelphia Catholic League. Of course, already a state champion on the girls' side in Newman Goretti, and we've had 3 champions on the boys' side with a 4th guaranteed here tonight. Archbishop Wood can make it 6 if they can come back and win here in the second half against South Fayette. Tell us a little bit about the league, what's gone well, and why these clubs have been so strong this year.
Well, I don't think it's any secret formula. You know, the Philadelphia Catholic League is blessed with really good coaches, willing to challenge themselves, particularly in the non-league. And I think that's overlooked a lot. You know, you look at the boys' side, they'll go down to Virginia, Maryland. Archbishop Carroll, for example, this year went down to Florida. Mike McDonald at Archbishop Wood on the girls' side notoriously goes down to Virginia, plays top competition. Renee Shields at Archbishop Carroll, Chrissy Dugan at Cardinal O'Hara, and that's really trickled over. You've seen that with Lansdale Catholic, West Catholic, Nazareth Academy since they've joined the league. They know that the Catholic League is such a night in and night out, so difficult that they really need to be tested in the non-league, and if that means they're going to quote-unquote schedule losses, it's only going to grow the team as they look ahead to February and March.
One of the great assets that the Philadelphia Catholic League and the Archdiocese have are those 2 nights in February at the Palestra every year where you can count on a sellout. And then this year you added to the rota on the girls' side. Great decision, by the way. The games at Villanova University for both girls' semifinals. Maybe you could walk us through a little bit of the history of how the Catholic League ended up at the Palestra and what value that brings to the league.
So it's always been, had always been at the Palestra for some time. I know there were some incidents that occurred with the Philadelphia Public League when they were at the Palestra. There was a break for a little bit, and then the Catholic League came back. I think when, the University of Pennsylvania sees that it's such a tremendous event, it's a great asset for them because then they can cross-promote with University of Pennsylvania men's and women's games as well as the Penn Relays. It's almost brings you back to those old Big 5 double headers, and the older folks at University of Pennsylvania cite that pretty often. There's nothing like it, and I know different parts of the state have different passions, whether it's wrestling, football, but when it comes to basketball, it's hard to articulate to those folks what it's like at the Palestra. Villanova, Denise Dillon, the head women's coach at Villanova, deserves a lot of credit. really was instrumental in orchestrating that. It worked out with their schedule with the Big East. And it was a great night for the semifinals there with the girls. Since COVID, I would say, I know the league has really tried to find a home for the girls' semifinals. It's moved around a little bit. It was a good partnership with St. Joe's Youth Sciences.
Sure.
But to have the branding of Villanova University and where it fits in the footprint of the schools in the Philadelphia Catholic League, I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Well, I'll say this on a personal note. The Long family has been 30-plus year season ticket holders for Villanova men's basketball, so that was a particularly special night for me as well to be able to call the games from Ryan Fannin and Whitey Rigsby's seats. So that was a heck of a lot of fun. So I actually wasn't going to ask you this, but you volunteered, and I think that's great. There have been, for many, many years, as long as I've been doing this, questions from folks, public versus private, boundary, non-boundary, and you were willing to talk about it, Steve, and I appreciate that. I'm curious your thoughts on where that all stands in the landscape of things.
Well, I think it comes up pretty frequently with football and basketball in particular. You usually don't hear a lot about it in the spring or with some of the other sports, a soccer, wrestling season. I think it's more of an issue of certain districts have their strengths in their sports. If you look at wrestling, predominantly it's District 3, District 11. Football notoriously has been WPIAA District 7, very heavy. When the Philadelphia Public League and the Philadelphia Catholic League came in, they're coming from, whether it's the 4th, 5th, 6th largest city in the country. Basketball is the fabric of Philadelphia. And then on top of that, Catholic schools, right? The traditions of St. John's, Villanova, Georgetown, Providence back in the day with the old Big East. There's always been a thing with Catholicism and basketball, right? So you hear it now and then. I would be disappointed if they did go to separate championships, because I think when you're talking about a state championship, you want to go up against the best. We've been here when Archbishop Ryan faced Lonnie Walker and Reading in the semifinals, or Roman 2 years ago up against Reading. Wood has played Reading, and different teams like that. You want to see if you're the best, right? To have separate championships, I think would be disappointing to the student athletes. You look at Perk Valley, tremendous team this year. They won the state title last night. Archbishop Carroll went up against them in the semifinals. It was a tremendous game. But you look at the different sports. Boys lacrosse, for example. Public schools have won the 3A championship the last 4 years. They've won the 2A championship the last 3 years. The baseball, for example, LaSalle College High School was the only non-boundary school in the 6A bracket. Bonner and Prendy was the only non-boundary school in the 5A bracket. 6A softball, there were no non-boundary schools in that bracket. So you hear it a lot with football and basketball, but I would really I'm hopeful that PIAA would just stay as is with one championship.
Interesting thoughts there, certainly. And Steve, I did want to ask about the Archdiocese as a whole. I know there's a lot of really good things going on at the Archdiocese that stretch well beyond athletics, but tell us about the health of the member institutions, the Archdiocese as a whole, and how the Catholic faith and everything that the Archdiocese does is intermingled into the culture of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. The 15 high schools at the Archdiocese of Philadelphia are really thriving. Unfortunately, we closed 2 high schools a few years ago, but our school system as itself is really growing. We have some great leaders at our schools. I think some changes in leadership has really put on a different dynamic with some of our schools. And I also credit the schools because some of them have really reinvented themselves. You look at a Father Judge that went into a tech and a welding. They now have HVAC, automotive. They're really redefining themselves. I think there's also been an emphasis on the student experience, not just athletics, but things like STEM, robotics, theater. You look at a school like LaSalle College High School, not in the Archdiocese, but, I mean, beautiful campus. They've really changed that school, St. Joseph's Preparatory, growing in enrollment. So I think, a couple things since COVID, maybe people are taking a different look at Catholic schools. Our schools have done a really good job with emphasizing EITC and tax credit.
Best program out there. If you're not doing it, look into it. Take 5 minutes, and it's the best way to really make an impact with your state and local taxes to be able to redirect them to the school of your choice.
And of course, it goes also back to word of mouth advertising. They're seeing how these students are being shaped and ready for either college or career through those 4 years. And we're fortunate to have great teachers and great administrators that are molding these young men and women.
Steve Howard with the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. Thank you so much for taking time with us at halftime, and congrats on a very successful weekend and more to come.
Thank you, Bob, for all you do for high school athletics.
Hey, absolutely. My pleasure, buddy. So, as we like to do here after these halftime interviews, we're going to come right back to action here on the floor and ready to rock. Archbishop Wood had the basketball and actually very quickly threw it away. So, nearly deflected there, but hand in the passing lane from South Fayette. They start with the basketball, Josh, to start the second half.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a really important 3 to 4 minutes right here. Is South Fayette going to maintain the momentum it built going into the half, or is Wood going to make some adjustments and create a little more space here?
Oldeker into the lane. She is fouled. It's going to be a blocking foul called against Archbishop Wood, and Oldeker will go to the line to shoot 2.
Coach McDonald does not like that call, and I am aligned with his thinking. Referee called it from the timeline, if you will. Looked like the Wood player had her hands up, passing lanes, or high hands. They walled up is what they call it. Unfortunately, foul was called and 2 free throws.
So our handy-dandy scoreboard there is still putting ads up. So we're going to go a lot of time and score here. A travel called against Archbishop Wood. Free throw was missed. The second one was missed. Nouse came down with it, shuffled the pivot foot. There was another hand in there from a South Fayette player, but the referee had a travel against Nouse. Inside they go on the entry pass, and adjusting in midair and finishing is Juliette LaRue. It's a 26-22 game. South Fayette leads 7:29 to play third quarter.
9 points, 4 rebounds for LaRue so far. She's been playing really well both ends, but especially on the offensive end. Finding space, making her shots.
Dribble drive all the way through traffic, throws it up wildly. Great defense by South Fayette. Goes off the side of the backboard. LaRue up the floor. Good find for Lamondi with her back to the basket. Looking for help, and they'll reset at the top of the key with Layla Wright. 7:04 to play, 26-22. And a travel is called. Comes to a jump stop in the lane, but that pivot foot just came off the floor.
The Vikings on the help side play outside the lane, which they don't want to give up three-point shots, which as a offensive player at the top of the key, you need to have help spots. If not, I would drive the ball continuously, playing one-on-one basketball.
Well, speaking of drive the ball, Ryan Carter got 2 feet in the lane, gave it up, and got it back immediately. Now beyond the three-point line, comes to the left wing, drives across the lane, lobs it up, and it's too strong. Archbishop Wood got a hand in there, but that is last touched by Archbishop Wood, and specifically number 20, Michaela Finnegan. But you're right, Matt, she's always involved defensively.
She's just a feisty defender. I love when she goes for offensive rebounds. She always goes for offensive rebounds. That's her assignment, and that's what she does.
South Fayette with the ball, 6:25 to go third quarter, leading by 4. Inside, double team, doesn't matter. The size and strength of Oldeker puts it in off the glass. 6-point lead.
2-out set piece, cut into a 2-curl. Got them a right-hand box layup.
Now Emily Nouse really start trying to get going here in this one. Nouse has it at the elbow, steps up and shoots it, couldn't hit it. Too strong. Here comes Layla Wright across the timeline with a full head of steam. She'll put on the brakes. Guarded by Ryan Carter. Wright against Carter, it's a good matchup. Rex Road now. She'll get to the basket. That one is blocked. And it's last touch by number 21 for Archbishop Wood, Emma Seckinger.
That's a one-on-one play right there. No help defense because they're worried about a kick out to the strong side for a three-pointer. So they play one-on-one, no help side on the ball side.
It's a huge possession right here.
Inside goes South Fayette. Got a great look at it, couldn't hit it. Offensive rebound by LaRue. She'll take the shot. Might have been blocked from the foul line, and it comes up well short. Here's Emily Naus to walk this one up the floor. 5:30 to play. Archbishop Wood trails by 6. Gives it away. A lazy pass. Layla Wright finishes. Ryan Carter tried to dash back, but Wright had the angle all the way to the rim. And all of a sudden, Ryan Carter is hurt again, and that was non-contact. I don't know what happened there, but she is really slow to get off the floor. Remember, in the first half, she did run into the camera person below the basket at one point, Matt. I didn't see anything on that last possession. Did you?
I followed her down the court, so she tried to block the shot. You'll see here on the replay here, and she ran into the pad at the bottom.
That's the second time that she's been dinged up, and she is in a lot of pain. Two coaches trying to help her off the floor. It looks like she's standing on her own power right by the PIAA logo, right of the Giant Center logo, by the edge of the coach's box. There's a timeout on the floor for that injury. The rest of the Archbishop Wood players standing off in front of the bench, and Carter has the attention of Mike McDonald and one of his assistants. Well, needless to say, I mean, a very, very bright future ahead of her at this level and beyond. But for the next 13 minutes of gameplay, this will be a very, very important piece of what happens next. Carter is walking on her own power very gingerly, and she'll go to the end of the bench where a terrific training staff will take a look at her. She's going to keep on walking. Try to keep the blood flowing there. The AD, Sue O'Neill, is over there working with her as well. So back to action. Can Archbishop Wood do it without Ryan Carter, at least for the time being? Emily now spins, turns, couldn't hit it with the left hand. Got into the lane, spun, and missed it off the window.
Very tough shot going back to her weak hand. A little off balance, but she got to her spot.
Dribble drive. Lamondi all the way to the bucket, and it's a 10-point lead for South Fayette.
Again, giving up right-hand layups as a coach's nightmare when most players on the floor are right-handed. You've got to force them to their weak hand, make it uncomfortable for them.
Archbishop Wood now has to get into the offense. Emily Naus, left hand, hit hard, almost put it in. It was off the glass and rolled off the front of the rim. She was hit and will shoot 2.
It's now 15 straight points, by the way, for South Fayette.
And the last 2 possessions from Emily Naus trying to assert herself offensively. You know, the one shot she missed, which was the mid-range, she was almost too all open. She hesitated. When she's in attack mode, when she's catching the shoot, not just catching the C, she's really, really dominant. And expect her to continue to assert herself offensively as Ryan Carter is on the bench.
Ryan is actually off behind the bench. Looks like she's on the ground now being tended to by several members of the training staff.
Emily Naus hits both free throws. The 10-point lead for South Fayette was their largest of the night. Really good spin in the lane. Off the heel it won't go, but an offensive rebound will not go either. Rexroad missed, and now a held ball will give it back to South Fayette. The initial miss by Wright, the second one by Rexroad. But this South Fayette team, coach, will not give up on the glass.
Just really impressed by the fight of the Lions, the determination on the glass, even on the rebound. They just continue to attack.
Media timeout, 3:59 to play here in this one. Bob Long, Matt Paul, Josh Furlan here. So happy to have Josh Furlan, City of Basketball Love, owner and founder, and has done a great job with that website and with his content. So many good writers that you have, so much great content you've put out. would love to give you the time to tell us all about what you're doing, how you've gotten to this point, and what is next.
I don't even know where to begin with that.
I got you.
It's our 13th year of operation. Our best year yet. I think we've had just an incredible staff this year. Whether that's, we've got Andrew Robinson, Joe Santalaquido, and Owen McHugh here with us today, but David Comer and Matt Allabone and Dan Arkins and so many others who've been contributing for the site at such a high level this year. Our traffic's been terrific, and the readership's been great, and we've just been covering Philadelphia area high school and college basketball for the last 13 years. I think nowadays it's much more substantial on the high school side than the college side. But we're not going anywhere. We just ran our first ever middle school girls camp. Had 80 girls at Cardinal O'Hara a couple weekends ago. It was great to see the next generation. We're not writing about them yet, but good to see the next groups that we'll be covering for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And got a 160-girl high school camp coming up in May. We'll do boys camps in the fall. And we're already starting to think about year 14 and planning some in-season events. So we're rocking and rolling.
And what got you into, I know you're a basketball junkie and whatnot, but what made you determine that you wanted to be a business owner and wanted to do this?
Well, I should clarify. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so I am no longer the owner.
You're right.
I'm just the editor-in-chief, president of the board of directors.
I was thinking about that as I was saying that, yes.
The rest of the board could fire me if they so choose. I'm hoping they do not.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
I got to give a lot of credit to Aaron Bracey, who let me cover my senior year at Temple and Drexel men's basketball for Phila Hoops, and really got me into this world. And I've always liked kind of doing my own thing and being my own boss. So I started COBL after that, and certainly never thought this is where I would be 13 years later. But it's just an absolute blast, and I love my job. I can't imagine anybody loving their job more. And I just amazing that I get to do this for a living.
That's great. 3:33 to go as Ryan Carter, here's the image, she's running sprints up and down behind the baseline as the rest of her team plays. Emily Naus got it up and on the rim, could not make it. One and done for Archbishop Wood. And here comes South Fayette in the green, moving from right to left.
Turned the ball over last possession. Michaela Finnegan forced a jump ball situation.
Ella Vieira has it now at the top of the key, hands it off. LaRue with a step through and a left-handed finish. It's a terrific bucket by LaRue.
A step through LaRue.
There you go. Archbishop Wood trails by 10 again. Long way to go, but they're going to have to start finding some answers. Looking to be the first program in the history of the state of Pennsylvania on the girls' side to win 5 straight state championships.
Wood's doing a lot of dribbling in their offense.
And that's well long. A deep three attempted by Emily Naus. Again, one and done. South Fayette in control and patient as they have it at the logo. Layla Wright.
We're past the 9.5-minute mark since Wood's last bucket.
Wow. Turning and spinning all the way to the bucket. A left-handed finish by Juliette LaRue. That was a tough cover for Sophia Topakis. This is the largest lead of the night, and a double dribble against Emily Naus. It'll go the other way.
Could be timeout territory for the Vikings just to settle themselves. Emily with a double dribble, that's just nerves and being shaken up a little bit. It's a 12-point game, 2 points at a time. Ryan Carter looks like she is maybe rejoining the bench and maybe rejoining the game.
South Fayette can really start to put some distance, but it was blocked by Sophia Topakis, taken right back immediately by Vieira. And South Fayette will get back into the offense. Lamondi has it at the top of the key now, guarded by Seckinger. Lamondi hands off. Layla Wright, interior passing, very difficult to get there, and a quick, and I mean quick, Matt Paul, held ball, which will give the ball back to South Fayette.
Goes back to the elbows. If you get the elbows up, they don't come in for elbows because nobody likes elbows for dinner.
And look who is back in the game.
There is Ryan Carter. Certainly not going to be 100%, you wouldn't think, but gutting it out for her club. Oh, yeah, very, very little weight being put on that left foot. You can just see as she's trying to defend. This will be interesting here. 1:23 to go, 12-point lead. No shot clock. South Fayette, they're in no hurry. The handoff right before the 5-second count. Now they'll run the weave. Vieira taken away from her. Good defense by Seckinger. Seckinger will take it across the timeline. Carter has it in her hands right in front of her head coach. Carter puts her foot in the ground, got to the basket, could not hit it. Didn't have that same jump or leap on that play. Still in a lot of pain, it is apparent to see, Coach.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. Offensively, you might want to put her in a ball screen to see if she can get through a screen, but she's definitely not at 100%.
I get that it's the state championship game for sure, but boy, you do not want to see her get hurt worse.
32 seconds left in this quarter. South Fayette, patient, content to hold. I mean, Carter's in a lot of pain as she tries to D up on Layla Wright. 20 seconds left out near the logo. Wright just keeps giving enough space to not have that 5-second count start. Down to 12, she's done the job to waste this time, and now they'll go into their last offensive look. 7 seconds left, now 6. She's still not moving. She's out at half court at 4, at 3. Carter takes it away, down to 1. Good if it goes, off the window, no good. And that was awkward even the way she fell on that, or landed on that left foot. We'll head to the end of the third quarter. It's 36-24 South Fayette.
Josh, my dad is a North Catholic graduate, 1957. He hates holding the ball for the last shot. He said if you do the percentages, if you do the percentages of shots that you take at the end versus going at 10 seconds, going at 12 seconds, chance for an offensive rebound. But every time it happens, something invariably goes wrong or you offensive foul, and so you just take the momentum out of the game. How do you see it?
It's so situationally dependent. You know, with South Fayette being up 12 points, I can understand that, you know, hey, let's make sure Wood doesn't get a rebound with 5 seconds left. I mean, they ended up getting a turnover. But in that situation, I agree with you. I think sometimes maybe if it's more of a tie game, then you want to go a little earlier, give yourself this chance at a second shot. The rarity of an opponent getting a rebound and going the full length, especially at the high school level. But in this situation, I'm okay with that.
I will say in the 4A game, we did call that one pretty good there, Matt. 45 seconds left. Lansdale Catholic had the ball in a tie game. And my thought to Matt, or I'm sorry, that was to Bruce at the time doing that game with me. He was saying, hold it, hold it, hold it. And I'm thinking, Bruce, do you know how difficult it is to hold the ball for 44 seconds against that defense? And that's what happened. They turned it over. Newman Goretti goes down and scores, and that ended up being the game-winning bucket.
And if Lansdale hadn't already turned it over 20 times that game, maybe that's a better decision. But you're right. It's such a situational dependent. Who are you playing? How has your team been? How are your ball handlers? How confident are you, though, to not have a turnover?
The one thing, especially with girls' side of basketball, once they get the dribble handoff, very few of them are comfortable enough just catching, turning, and facing. It's almost always a dribble. But what you want to do in those situations is to get the ball, hold it for 4 seconds, and then go. But it's really hard to do that if you're coming at full speed.
Now out of this third quarter timeout, Archbishop Wood with the basketball. Every one of these possessions very important. Carter gets it in the high post, comes into the lane, spins baseline, puts it up, and she'll shoot 2. She was hit hard on the play. 2 shots coming for Ryan Carter.
We talked about how good this Archbishop Wood team can shoot the ball. 10 for 42 through 3 quarters.
Unexpected. In and out as that one rolled all the way around the cylinder.
South Fayette, by the way, 16 for 30.
Much higher percentage.
Double.
And maybe press here for the Vikings.
1 for 2 for Ryan Carter. It's an 11-point lead. And it is full court pressure, a 2-2-1 full court zone. Trouble getting it across, and they throw it away just on command, and a foul is called against South Fayette. Juliette LaRue got in the way of Michaela Finnegan, not in legal guarding position, and that's already the second team foul against South Fayette. So this is certainly the blueprint if you're Archbishop Wood. Get to the line, pressure South Fayette, take them out of their offense, and now you got to find a way to score on these offensive possessions. Carter, skip pass. Good back screen. That three will not go, and a great check out inside by South Fayette's number 1, Layla Wright.
I love the hold on the checkout. Sometimes your job is to make sure your player doesn't get the ball. Somebody else needs to rebound it. Turns into a floorboard. I love that as a coach.
Lamondi. Archbishop Wood now in that run and jump, trying to coerce turnovers here, and South Fayette, they're in no hurry. LaRue gives it up. Open three for Oldeker, and that one is good. It's the largest lead of the night at 14 on the Oldeker triple from the right wing.
Taking a page out of the Vikings book with the 5 fade.
Carter in and out. 1-on-4 on the rebounding side, and the rebound taken down by number 4, Sierra Rexroad. Here comes Layla Wright for South Fayette. 6:25 to go. 14-point lead and in no hurry. Up near the logo as the 5-second count is going. They hand it off just in time. Lamondi nearly gave it up. Kept in bounds. Nice job there by Ryan Oldeker. And precious seconds coming off the clock. 6:03 to go. Fourth quarter. Wright pulls it back at the top of the key. LaRue now for Oldeker near the baseline. Good move. Inside she goes. Step through and everything but the finish as it ticks on the rim twice. Emily now springs it the other way. Ryan Carter. She goes Euro step. Puts it up. Can't get it over the front rim. Rebound Seconder. Here's Topakis. Spins at the elbow. Goes up and under, and it's taken off her hands. Last touch by South Fayette.
Little fatigue happening here in the fourth quarter as expected. When you play that many minutes, it's difficult to maintain that same type of energy, driving the ball full speed, full court. The girls are playing hard.
Emily now steps back for a long two. That one's good from the top of the key. 39-27, 5:32 to go. Archbishop Wood back into that 2-2-1 full court pressure, and a timeout is called by the head coach, Brian Bennett of South Fayette.
You got to be feeling pretty good in that Lions huddle, but you're also a little nervous as a coach, thinking this pressure is making me nervous. I wonder how my players are feeling at the moment. When girls get nervous, it tends to snowball with the next player getting the ball in a situation where they don't want to catch it. That last pass that went up the court down the middle, that's got to be wide open. It's just like football. It's got to be wide open. We teach you throwing the ball down the sideline as a hit-ahead pass and then looking opposite to the opposite box. But to look down the middle, it's got to be from the wing to the middle and then go opposite. You can't go middle to the middle.
Juliette LaRue leads the scorers for South Fayette with 13. We mentioned the daughter of Francois LaRue with a terrific professional career. And Ava was on the state title team 2 years ago. Juliette's sister, Francois' daughter, now playing her basketball at Elon. Pretty balanced scoring. Oldeker with 8, Lamondi with 8.
And the 10-second call goes back to 0.
After that timeout, that is last touch by Archbishop Wood as they knocked it out of bounds once South Fayette got into the full court.
The zone.
Skip pass to the corner for South Fayette. They get it out of the corner. A three by LaRue barely draws the iron. Here comes Archbishop Wood the other way. Maybe that was a little quick. Carter, contact. They're going to wave it off. And I don't know. There. Was that the gather to go up into the shot there, Matt Paul?
That's what I saw from the perch that we're sitting from.
I mean, that's a shooting foul. They showed it up on the big board. That's a tough call there.
Important out of bounds here.
Oh, by the way, I've talked about Francois LaRue, and I said he had a great professional career. I realized I don't think I told you what sport. Hockey. Terrific hockey player for many, many years.
Play with Mario.
There you go. That's right.
I was once in an elevator with Mario Lemieux.
Spinning inside, Ryan Carter puts it in. That's a terrific move, and she is still limping off the floor as a timeout is called. But how about this, Josh Verlin? It is a 10-point game. Archbishop Wood carving back in a quick 4-0 spurt.
They still need another couple stops and another couple buckets, I think, before South Fayette really starts to feel the pressure. I think if they can get it down to 6 before it gets to 3, 2:45 left, then you start really talking about, okay, can South Fayette withstand this? At the moment, the way they've been playing, and Matt, you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, I think South Fayette has been generating much cleaner, easier looks than Wood has for quite a bit now.
No question. You're never wrong when you're with Bob Long. The one thing I didn't like about the last possession for the Lions is that it was a quick 3. You don't want quick 3s. If it's wide open, in rhythm, step into the basket, ball kicking out, you can take the 3-pointer, but you shouldn't be thinking that you need to attack all the time. You want to make sure, I think they should play through the elbow spot once they get over half court. That's where they've been most effective.
Amazingly, only South Fayette's 4th 3-point attempt of the game.
Wow.
2 for 4.
And another turnover, a long home run pass intended for Lamondi. She couldn't handle it. Here comes Archbishop Wood quickly racing 2 subs to the scorer's table. And going a little offense, defense, I suppose, here, Josh.
Yeah, Wood 2 for 13 from 3, by the way. But yes, absolutely, they need those shooters on the floor.
So Emma Yogas checks into the game, and Sophia McDonald back into the contest. Ryan Carter steps through, tough shot, got her own rebound. She's in the block and puts it in. Boy, just barely can get down to the other side of midcourt, but somehow that's the gritty competitor in her. She's able to get to the basket at will. 8-point game, 4:12 to go.
You're hoping the adrenaline just carries her through the final 4 minutes here.
Back cut, beautiful offense by South Fayette. Easy bucket for Ryan Oldeker, who got to the strong side block off the double down screen.
Like a clinic.
Nearly a giveaway. Indeed, it's a giveaway. LaRue comes up with it for South Fayette. That's something that Archbishop Wood cannot do. Have to value the basketball in the final 4 minutes. And a foul is called against Archbishop Wood, just their first here of the 4th quarter. 3:37 to play. Immediate timeout here at the Giant Center, home of the PIAA State Championships. So, Josh, you've been here at the Giant Center. Were you doing this when it was in State College? Was you doing it early enough for that?
No, my first year of City of Basketball Love was the first year they moved it back here.
Yeah. What do you think of the Giant Center and how it hosts these events?
No, I like it. Certainly a more convenient drive than State College,
Yes,
which is very nice. No, I think it's a nice facility for it. It's probably a little bigger than it needs to be, aside from when Lonnie Walker and Redding are filling the place up. But, I mean, I was told last night's attendance was about 5,000, 5,500, and that includes the Perk Valley game and the Hershey game. I thought the Hershey-Newman-Goretti game was a great atmosphere. I mean, So if that was only half full, not even, then I'm okay with it. It was great in here. So, no, I think it's a really nice facility. It's nice and big. They do a good job here. No complaints.
Absolutely. Although I'll tell you, Hershey's a great town. Don't get me wrong. Sweetest place on earth. I try to avoid saying that. It's too cliche, I think, Matt. But State College is a special town. Now, I'm a Penn State graduate talking here, but I was also in college when those games were in State College. So that was great. I went there for a couple of years while I was in State College for the state finals. Saw Tony Chenault and Newman Goretti win a title. Saw C.J. Aiken and Plymouth White Marsh, PW, win a state title. Those were good times. So right back to action here out of the timeout. LaRue picks up her dribble, out to the top of the key, up near the logo for Ryan Oldeker. 3:14 to go, a 10-point lead for South Fayette. You can see they're kind of parking the bus here, trying to get a good look. Lamondi takes it beyond the three-point line, skip pass inside, too good offensively. Take off 30 seconds, a little back cut by Sierra Rexroad, and it's a 12-point lead.
Feels like a dagger.
All you need is one player that gets tired early.
Ryan Carter to the bucket, and it is kind of 1-on-5 there a little bit. I mean, you have every South Fayette defender there, Matt, just keeping one eye on Carter, and as soon as she gets it inside the three-point line, collapses.
It's hard to score 1 against 3, 1 against 4. When you're down 12, you start to press a little bit, and sometimes you get out of what you're used to doing. plenty of time left. If you just defend, I mean, the Lions continue to throw haphazard passes. I would just keep putting pressure on them. They're going to do the offensive defense subbing. Just stay with it. You just try to keep working the ball. You don't need to score within 10 seconds, but you do have to get a good shot every time.
2:36 to play. Timeout on the floor. South Fayette leads Archbishop Wood 43-31. Bob Long, Matt Paul, Josh Verlin back on the broadcast with us. On here for the first time with Bob Long Sports. First time he's done it in a long, long time. How does it feel to be on the telecast?
It feels good. Feels good to be back. It's a lot of fun. I did some public address announcing at some games that we hosted at Exeter earlier this season, so that was a different angle as well.
Sure.
No, it's great.
You've done great. It's been really fun to have you, and hopefully
Thank
we
you.
can do more of it next year.
Absolutely. My problem is I just like being on the court and taking pictures
That's
too much.
exactly right. And by the way, your picture taking is great. You've snapped a couple of shots of us over the years that some of them I still have as different profile or background images, so thank you for doing those.
Of course. I got to give a shout out to Mark Jordan, who's been our staff photographer for 13 years. Mark's down there somewhere. He's been, just a tremendous asset for COBL over the years. I also got to give a shout out to Gavin Bethel, who gave me a camera lesson earlier this season. That was very helpful. I'd kind of been shooting on one setting for 12 years, and he told me how to switch it up a little bit.
I like that.
I'll take that lesson.
So 2:35 to go. Oh, by the way, Matt, you still owe us the elevator story, so keep that in mind, the Mario Lemieux story for another stoppage here. Ryan Oldeker will take this back to the logo, guarded by Ryan Carter. Oldeker doing very well with that basketball, hands it off for Haley Lamondi. 2:17 to play, and now Archbishop Wood is going to have to start fouling. That has to be at least the second team foul. It says 0, but I think Now's picked up a foul earlier in the quarter. Did I miss that?
You're never wrong.
No, well, come on now. That's not right. Impossible standard.
The stat that I'm looking at is how many timeouts there are left. There's 6 possible timeouts left here in this game with 2 minutes left, going back to holding on to your timeouts. This is just going to be keep away.
South Fayette doing a great job with that, and Archbishop Wood's going to have to start taking fouls, and they do. Michaela Finnegan, the 5'6" sophomore, fouls near the logo there.
Very difficult to defend when the ball's in the middle of the court. You have to force them to one side or the other, but offensively you want to keep it in the middle of the court, and the Lions are doing a great job of that.
And use that backcourt, they sure will. LaRue takes it across the timeline. Defended by Carter, she gave it away. Ryan Carter will finish with the left hand in transition. Well, that's what you need if you're Archbishop Wood. Steals and easy looks in transition. Now they double team Oldeker. Oldeker is in a tough spot. And a timeout is called by Brian Bennett. I was waiting for that whistle.
Called foul. Foul was called.
No, I don't.
I think they're going to call the timeout.
I think they're going to give the timeout. And I think that's correct. So now, like you said, Matt, you reset. You said this earlier in the broadcast. Reset that 10-second clock. And that's very, very well done by Bennett in managing this clock with 1:42 to go. Time for the Mario Lemieux elevator story, Matt.
That one is uneventful, but I'm going to tell you a Chocolate Thunder story. You know who Chocolate Thunder is?
Darryl Dawkins.
Darryl Dawkins. So I'm trying out for the Lehigh Valley Dogs, 1999. So there's 3 tryouts. You have to pay $100 to try out. If you get cut the first weekend, you could try out the second weekend so long as you gave another $100. Third weekend, there's a couple of guys that came, paid another $100. I make it through about 4 tryouts, and there's still about 40 people left. And he says, all right, I don't know how else to do this. I'm going to stand underneath the basket, and if you can't dunk on me, you're cut. God is my judge, as my mother would say. I dunked on Chocolate Thunder with 2 hands.
That's pretty darn good, man.
I got cut the following week.
But the story lives forever. Struggling to get it in. Seconder got a hand on it, and they're able to give it up. Across half court comes number 3, Haley Lamondi. Double team in a tough spot. That's last touched by South Fayette. It's knocked out of bounds by Emma Seconder.
Offensively here, I'd like to throw the ball in the backcourt, and I'd like to use every bit of that time one-on-one in the backcourt.
Oh, my goodness. Nearly a backcourt violation as Lamondi caught it as she was in midair. Let's ask, I don't know, the journalist, let's ask the coach. We need Aaron Hart is what we really need. Is that a backcourt when you jump from the front court, catch it in air and land in the back?
That's a backcourt violation, but I think what the referee would argue is that her feet were down before she touched the ball.
I think that argument would be, I think the video would show different.
It was close.
But it is for sure a backcourt violation. Mike McDonald knows.
I've got a good elevator story, by the way, when we have a second here.
They got the ball to Lamandi. Inside they go on a streaking LaRue left-handed finish. 45-33. Ryan Carter at the top of the key. Emily Naus looking for help. Carter. Quick step to the baseline, up and off the window.
With the left hand.
Timeout called by Mike McDonald with 1:05 to go. And this is where things get interesting, Josh, in a rule of high school basketball where the clock continues to run under a minute to go, even on made baskets. Something I'd love to see change at the high school level. People talk shot clock. I want that rule change where under a minute, I think the clock should stop on made baskets because you can just run out of time here.
You can. I go back and forth on that because then we're talking about high school basketball. You're still relying on a kid or someone to run the shot clock, and if that rule gets changed, you know, what happens? Do they stop it exactly? That could open up a whole different can of worms from the can of worms that we already have.
Yep. Elevators, though.
I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm 17 years old. I can't remember, maybe visiting colleges. I was down there with my family. Get into the hotel elevator. It's me, my dad, my younger sister. My dad looks at me and he goes, "So, Josh, I can't imagine you've ever been in an elevator where you're taller than the NBA player who's in here with us."
Ha.
And that was how I met Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues. Love that.
Got his autograph. Super nice guy. I think it was just after his playing career had ended.
My elevator is not very, very good. But Tim Higgins, you'll remember Tim Higgins, a longtime basketball official. Terrifically nice guy. I just remember 30 years as a season ticket holder at Villanova at the time. Maybe I was 10 years old. And there was one gentleman, I don't know, up one row and 4 seats to the left, that every game that Higgins, he was doing a lot of Big East games back in the day. "You're killing us, Timmy! Timmy, you're killing us!" And so when I saw Tim Higgins, I just about lost it. I'm like, I know you very well. I think you're a heck of an official. Don't listen to that guy at the Nova games.
That's funny.
I thought you were about to tell us that was like Jay Wright's dad.
Yeah, right? Maybe so. Maybe so. So now South Fayette with a 10-point lead, 1 minute to go. Double team in the backcourt. Up the floor, and I think that is going to go out of bounds. It's last touched by South Fayette. A little late on the call, but there's the call. 54 seconds left. 2 timeouts remaining for Archbishop Wood. I don't know if you need a 3, but you need something quick.
Attack the basket. They're not going to foul you. If they do, you're going to get to the free throw line anyhow.
And that's the best thing you can do to stop the clock.
Try to get an M1. In your head, you're thinking about starburst. We give out starburst if you get an M1, but you got to make the free throw.
Ryan Carter has it up near the logo. She is really struggling. Got hurt earlier in the game, came back. Struggling to get to the rim, pushes off the defender, and that might be the cap on it. Number 1, Layla Wright stays in front as Carter extends the off arm, and South Fayette is 45 seconds away from a state title. And Mike McDonald is clearing the bench. Off comes Emily Naus, the senior. What an incredible career for her. She'll leave with 3 state titles. She will go to St. Joe's University, where she should have a terrific career at the next level.
They might come back in. This might just be for fouls. I only say that because there wasn't a big hug or anything on the bench.
Archbishop Wood, though, is calling off. It appears
they're
calling off the dogs. They are not fouling. This is being handled at the top of the key by Haley Lamandi. There comes the double, and a timeout comes for Brian Bennett, and he will start to move and put some new folks onto the floor. What an opportunity here it was for South Fayette, and what a job by Brian Bennett, the 7th-year head coach. he will win the first state title in the program's history.
And they have absolutely earned every inch of it.
It's incredible that South Fayette has held Wood to 35 points.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Especially considering they had 22 points with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter.
That's right.
They've scored 13 points in 18 minutes.
The previous coach at South Fayette, was a very successful coach. They had one District 7 title before Brian Bennett came along, one state semifinal, but Brian brought some great talent, some consistency, and has taken them, quite frankly, Matt, to the next level. You can understand that as a coach. 2 years ago was the first trip to the state final for this program, and in their second time here and against the same program that they played the first time around, they're going to lift some hardware here tonight for the first time in the school's history.
It's exciting for him and his program. High school basketball is a 12-month job, and it's not 2 hours a day. There's prep work for the practice. There's scouting, in some cases recruiting for some schools. But there's an incredible amount of time and effort that goes into preparation.
Final 8 seconds. South Fayette loses the basketball. Archbishop Wood will get one last bucket, which is good, and they don't even need to inbound it. South Fayette, for the first time in program history, wins the state title, and there is hardware headed back to Pittsburgh.
Incredible performance. Team performance. I think Coach Bennett deserves a lot of credit for preparing for this game. The help side defense was right on point, preventing dribble drive action from Ryan Carter and others. Emily Nouse couldn't get herself going the way that she can, but it was great team basketball.
Juliette LaRue, 15 points, 9 rebounds. I think the no doubt MVP of this game.
I would say so, and avenging her older sister Ava, who was not so fortunate 2 years ago in her senior season when South Fayette played Archbishop Wood in this contest.
Ryan Oldiker added 10 points for South Fayette.
And they were getting, in that fourth quarter, great looks. I can only think of the one shot that hurried three. Otherwise, they were getting left-hand layups, which they made it look like it was a right-handed layup. They were getting patient looks. Even the three-pointers that they made were really good looks. As you said, Josh, they're not a high-volume three-point shooting team, but they were getting layups.
The interior passing was terrific, and it wasn't just two girls. I mean, it was just whoever had the ball in the high post or the mid post was finding cutters. It was really impressive. For Archbishop Wood, Ryan Carter, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals. Emily Nouse, 10 points, 7 rebounds in her final game for Wood.
A heck of a career for Nouse. I felt that the key for South Fayette against any of these Philadelphia Catholic League teams that are so good defensively, controlling the turnovers. Yes, there were certainly some turnovers, but Layla Wright, Haley Lamondi, Sierra Rexroad, the ability to handle the basketball. And amongst the bigs, Juliette LaRue, Ryan Oldiker, we've talked a lot about both of them, but they can both operate out of the high post. They did so effectively. They can get off the bounce and finish really well. A complete effort by the South Fayette team that brought 6-7 girls to the table that could really play.
Yeah, and every time Ryan Carter and Emily Nouse got downhill, they made it a tough layup for them.
Yep.
I mean, Wood did not have any open looks at the bucket.
They did not. It was a heck of a game. It was really impressive game plan by Brian Bennett. Terrific execution by South Fayette, and they are a state champion. So Archbishop Wood, they will be awarded the runner-up medals and the runner-up trophy, and then South Fayette from District 7 proudly will be champions of the 5A on the girls' side. First time in 5 years that Archbishop Wood did not win the title at this classification. Josh, how about a final thought from you? Welcome back to the broadcast booth. And again, thanks so much for your friendship, partnership, and everything that we do here around high school basketball.
Thank you so much for having me on, Bob. My final thought will be, got one starter that's a senior on South Fayette. We got one starter that's a senior on Archbishop Wood. Let's do this again next year.
Let's run it back. What do you say, Matt Paul?
Yeah, I like that idea. I'm going to skip on the popcorn, and I'm going to get some Chicky and Peach fries. Chicky and Pete's makes it all the way out to Hershey here, so I'm going to stop and get myself some. Josh, you did an awesome job.
Thank you, Matt.
You're a pro at this, and it was a lot of fun doing the game with you.
This was great. Thank you so much, guys, for having me on.
Matt, I didn't know you sold us a sponsorship for Chickies and Pete's. Thanks, man. Is the check coming soon, or?
Fries are.
Before I go, Judge Roman.
Ooh, baby, we don't make picks up here.
Oh, we don't make picks?
Maybe
Okay.
you do. I don't know, Matt. You tell me, but.
I don't make picks.
Or not even. We don't even need to pick.
Yeah.
But what do you see? How do you see this playing out? I got to get my thoughts in on this game before we.
Yeah.
I expect Roman to run. They're going to get up and down the floor. They're not going to play half-court defense.
I agree.
Chris McNesby has been having sleepless nights since the Palestra, and he's going to attack differently. They still get Sharif in the low post and try to attack and use him. He's an adept passer, but I'm getting the ball to Sammy. I'm letting Sutton run, and I'm going to try to play as fast. I'm going to play with Judge. Judge has to beat him 3 times, which is the old adage. You can't beat a team 3 times in a season. Judge still has a lot of firing power.
The old what?
Adage.
Adage.
No, it's French. We're out here.
Ah, that's right.
We're out here in
Francois
French.
Leroux.
There we go.
Les Giants Center.
You know, you're looking up the French neighborhoods in Pittsburgh. Do you know about the French neighborhoods in Pittsburgh?
Tell me.
Well, it goes back to the French-Indian War. Let me just look up my notes here. I had this earlier.
All right.
But the neighborhoods in Pittsburgh, there's a lot of French neighborhoods. So I was working on my French.
I love it.
I just
love
remember
it.
Oakland from my pit days in Squirrel Hill.
There you go. Heck yeah. No, I actually agree with Matt. I think they go up tempo. I don't think that you're willing to lose 3 times to Father Judge getting in the half court when you have those athletes if you're Roman Catholic. I know that's also playing in theory into Father Judge's hands. I think we could see a shootout tonight. I also could be completely off, and we could see 41-34 again.
The biggest key to me has been Everett Barnes' ability to shut down Sharif Jackson in the post, which really nobody else has done over the course of the last 3.5 years. If they go to if Everett's able to shut down Sharif in the post again, I think this is Judge's game. If Sharif can, I think he's only scored 8 points combined in their 2 matchups. If he can have a night, if he can be himself, I think this is Roman's to lose.
That's well said. He's a good journalist here. I do think that's the key, Matt.
I like it.
Well, let's bid you adieu momentarily here. That game, by the way, will certainly tip after 8 o'clock. We'll try to go live right at 8. Put one of those little doohickeys on there, let you know that we're not going to go live until probably 8:30. But thanks, everyone, for being with us. Congratulations to South Fayette. Heck of a team, a great 32 minutes of basketball, and a truly deserving 5A girls state champion.